Hello, it is me. Today, we will be talking about our love story. David will not be joining us, but Onyx will. Hi, friends. This is Bethany Jennings, and you're listening to We Should Talk. It's a podcast where we talk about anything and everything to encourage, equip, and empower you to be a decent human. Let's talk. All right, so let's start at the beginning. A very good place to start. If you get that reference, good for you. So David and I met in 2010. Someone was supposed to be preaching Texas camp. And there's Onyx. And an emergency came up in that preacher's church, and so he couldn't come. So they called my dad. And he went to preach the camp here in Texas, which is only like an hour and a half from our house. So I went with Dad and backed him up on the organ while he's preaching, did altar call, that kind of stuff. So while we were there, Taylor Fish, who is a lifelong friend, was there as a camper. He was still camper age. And he came up on the platform and was like, "Hey, Beth, how's it going?" You know, with Fish, it's more like, "Hey, Beth, how's it going?" I apologize for my Fish impersonation. It may or may not get more accurate as the story goes on. So I just started laughing, talking to him, it's just Fish. And about that time, this guy comes up on the platform, and he was like, "Man, you really did it. You really talked to her." And Fish was like, "Man, I can't do this to you. This is Bethany. We grew up together, la, la, la." So I was like, what is happening right now? And Fish goes, "This is my friend David. He said, how did he say it? He said, he dared me to come talk to you, said I couldn't make you laugh. So, of course, I took him up on it." Well, I grew up with Taylor, so, of course, I started laughing. And he's like, "Yeah, but he didn't tell me y'all grew up together." So that's how I met David. And he was like, "So do I need to call you Sister Beth?" And I was like, he said, "Only if you want me to punch you, just call me Bethany. Beth is fine. I'm only 20. And he was like, because at that point I was 20. He goes, "Oh my goodness, I thought you were 30. I'm sorry." Which, looking back, is probably not the best way to start. So that's how we met. And then at the same camp, he was kind of back and forth. His original pastor had passed away, so he went to the funeral for that. And then at the talent show portion of the camp, he sang one of the songs, I guess, that they sang at his pastor's funeral. And then that was our next encounter. So, again, Fish, being the instigator that he is, was walking with me to the, the side of the platform where you sit during the talent show. He's like, "Beth, David said he's singing Help Me." Help Me by Court Chavis, which is still like, everybody knows that song. But then it was like, oh, it's the freshest, newest, everything, And so I, liking the song, loving Brother Chavis, I was like, wow, it's a big song. You better do that song some justice. See, that's how I said it. How David received it was very different. But David's not here to tell his side of the story. So that sounds like a David problem. So he, of course, took it some kind of way. Well, he gets up and sings Help Me. And, we're all on our feet. Like, "Yeah, you're the best thing since sliced bread. Peanut butter and jelly aren't as good as you." Anyways, so that happens. Well, later on in the camp, it was kind of like, during rec time, right? And I hear some female coming at him or whatever. And she's like, "Whatever, I'm supposed to be the top of your list." And he's like, "Girl, you ain't got no meat on your bones. You ain't nowhere on my list." At which point, I was like, "My friends, I am in the game." Repeat, I am in the game. Because I meet the requirement of meat on the bones. So anyways, camp happened. He was not very happy with me. Because of apparently he thought I was rude when I said, "You better do that song some justice." I wasn't being rude to him. I was complimenting the song. But again, David's not here to tell his side of the story. So that's a David problem. So that was 2010. Later that year, we ended up at a mutual friends church for like a youth revival situation. And Fish was with us. Fish and I drove up together to that. It was like in the Dallas area. So Fish and I drove up together to that. And we were getting in the van, it was like a bunch of guys and me and one of the pastor's daughters, I think. I think she was in there. And I'm trying to get in the car, right? And David's all like, "Hey, Beth, can I get your jersey?" And I said, "My what?" He said, "Your jersey." I said, "I don't have a jersey. What are you talking about?" He said, "Well, think about it. What's on a jersey?" I said, "A name and a number." "Yes, you can." That was cute. Fish, give him my number because I had to run back into church because, shocker, I forgot something per usual. So Fish actually gave David my number, who was bold enough to ask it in front of a van full of guys. "Hey, don't do this. Sorry, Onyx is with us, remember? So he's just randomly destroying things. Sorry, guys. Could you not do that? Thank you. Thank you. Ain't you, baby?" So that happened. Well, we end up doing like, I don't know, some events together, some holiday youth conventions here in Texas and some other stuff. We do some work together. And so that was really nice to get to work with him. And he had a friend that was also a really talented singer named Fatou Amoa. And so we all hung out. We were friends and everything. And then he and Fatou in 2011 ended up coming to our annual homecoming event, which is like all the ministers that look to my dad as bishop. They come home every October, like the last weekend in October. And so anyways, they came down to that. There goes Onyx's toy. I'm sorry, friends. So it's a whole song now. Give me a second. Okay, the song has been shut off. This dog sings things, I don't know, and he tells stories. You know what? Welcome to motherhood. Moving on. Where was I? So they come to homecoming in October of 2011. We all hang out. We have a good time. Nothing crazy. He and Fatou drive back. So at this point, David does not live in my area, right? I'm from Southeast Texas, born and raised in Silsbee. I am a Silsbilly. David was raised in a town called Coppers Cove, which is like central Texas, it's still Texas, but Texas is big and it has a lot of different cultures and regions. So anyways, he was raised by Fort Hood, which is extremely multicultural. And it was like, I don't know, 5.5, 6 hours away. Maybe. I don't know. David would know. But again, David's not here. So that's a David problem. Anyways, he drives back. Well, he's texting me off and on during his trip. And then I get a phone call from him after he gets home. And he says something to the effect of, "I have talked to Fatou all the way home. And I have tried to find something wrong with you. And I can't find anything wrong with you. And so I'm not sure that we can do anything about it, but I wanted you to know that I do like you. Like, I really like you." And I said, "Well, I'm not sure if we can do anything about it either, but thank you for letting me know. And the feeling is mutual." Now, this is after doing a lot of events together. He's already gone through a breakup at this point. It's like a lot of life has been lived at this point. And so I've gone up to, I think I may have gone up to Cove at that point. I don't know. I met his mom. That was before she passed. And so I said, "Okay, well, thank you for letting me know the feeling is mutual." So I hung up with him. I went directly to my dad, and I let him know what had just happened because I was rebuilding trust from some stupidity earlier in my life that was completely self-inflicted. So I was rebuilding trust with him, so I went directly to him and said, hey, I just want to let you know, I just got off the phone with David. This is what was said to me. The feeling is mutual. I do really, really like him, and I wouldn't mind seeing where this goes. And my dad's response was, and I quote, I need to talk to Fish. And my response was, why? Fish isn't the one who likes me. David is. And Dad said, yeah, well, Fish knows this boy. He knows this boy and his real intention. So I really need to talk to Fish. So he talks to Fish. And Fish is like, I don't know, Bishop. But, I mean, he seems to like her, but I don't know, Bishop. Fish plays a pretty big role in this whole situation. We're thankful for Fish, and we are even more thankful for Cindy, because it takes a Cindy to marry a Fish, and we love, love, love the Fish family. That was a side note. Moving on. So that happened in 2011. I'm going to give you the quick version. If you guys have questions, we can get into them later. What do you need, baby? Onyx can't decide if he wants to be held or not. Hey, baby. Hey, mommy's here. So, that was 2011. October 2011. And then we talked for a very long time. We actually didn't date until 2013. So we met in 2010. We said, hey, I kind of like you. Let's see where this goes in 2011, the end of 2011. And then a lot of life happened. I can't even keep track of all the life that happened. His mom passed away somewhere in there. It was a very traumatic event, and that's a David story. I'll let him tell that story. But if he so chooses. But yeah, that's his story, not mine. So his mom passes away, and he ends up moving out of his house at 17. A lot of life happened. Like a lot of life happened for him. A lot of life happened for me. I was, going to college and double majoring and having careers and a lot of things going on. I mean, I've had a few careers at this point. I don't know if it's because I get bored or I just have to follow whatever season is showing up. But, yeah. So a lot of life happens. And then on June the 3rd, 060313, June the 3rd, 2013, he asked me, he said, is this after he's talked to Dad? We went through all of those channels, not because I don't know how to make my own decisions, but because there is always safety and counsel. Sorry, I had to pause because Onyx needed something. We don't know. But now he's in a bassinet, which is actually too small for him, but he's happy. Back to our story. So we start officially dating on June the 3rd of 2013. And we dated for a good long while, long distance. David ended up moving his job, moved him to like the Waco area. And so he helped out at a home missions church there for a year. And then he ended up at our church here in Silsbee, which is now his church. And, he looks to Dad as bishop. And so his covering is here. And I think, Dad has kind of become a safe place for him. And I think that's so great. He calls my mom. He does not call Dad. He calls Dad Bishop. So it's Mama and Bishop, which is fine. That seems to be a common theme among people. It's Mama White and Bishop. So he moved here. After we had been long distance, he moved here in, I want to say 2015-ish. I don't really know. Was it 2015-ish? And then I graduated college in 2015. And it was going from long distance to close distance it's like learning to date all over again. It's very different. If you've ever done that, I'm sure you share that sentiment, and that it's almost like a whole new relationship, because it's not just like you're not just talking to this person, they actually exist, and you try to make time in your day to be with them and not just talk on the phone with them. I don't know. It's just different. It's just different. And it's like, well, when he was visiting, when he was long distance, we were together pretty much the whole time he was here. from the morning until our curfew, which was 12 a.m. That was my curfew. I was in the house by 12 a.m. no matter how old I was. And again, it's not about me not being able to make my own decisions, but it's about there being safety and counsel and safety and accountability. But maybe that's a podcast for a different time, an episode for a different time. So, but when he moved here, it was like, oh, okay, so you go do your thing and I'll still see you. Like, we can both have our lives here together but separate. So it was a whole other learning curve. And then he proposed to me in September of 2016 with a helicopter ride. That was great. A helicopter ride and dinner at one of my favorite Italian restaurants in Galveston, which is one of my favorite places in the world. And then we got married in January 2017. And the wedding story, that's definitely a different episode. It's one of the best days of my life, absolutely. So many God moments in that, so many confirmations and words spoken over us, and it was really great. But yeah, so then we got married in 2017, and then that's January 2017, and then May of 2017, I got in a car wreck and was in a wheelchair, and then a bunch of life happened, and now we have Onyx, and we have a new baby Jay on the way. That's the brief version of the end of that. So as far as our story, that's the very brief summary of what our story is. So we met doing kingdom work in 2010. We kept doing kingdom work together. 2011, he's like, hey, I like you, girl. Don't know if we can do anything about it. As far as like why we couldn't do anything about it, because it was deep Southeast Texas, interracial relationship with two people who were used relatively publicly at the time. So yeah, we just decided to take things slow and steady and let the Lord fight our battles, if you catch my drift. And yeah, and then we dated in 2013, engaged in 16, married in 17. And that's the story of me and David. Now, of course, there are a lot of details that I'm leaving out, but that's the quick version because only one episode, friends. But I wanted to, as they say, give the people what they want. So there you go. That is a very brief story of us. However, if I got something quote unquote wrong, according to David, it doesn't even matter because he had the opportunity to come on here and tell his side of this story, and he didn't. So obviously whatever I say is absolute truth. I would never intentionally lie to you guys. So happy Valentine's Day. That is our story of love. I'm interested to hear y'all's stories of love. If you want to tell me about it, you can always message me on Instagram. I think there's a way to comment on here. I still haven't figured that part out. You know what? It doesn't matter. I would like to hear y'all's story. I think it's so fun on Valentine's Day. Everybody's like, this is us and this is our story. And they share it. And I think that's really great. Some of you consistently share your love for your significant other. And I think that's super duper. But I'm not the person that's like, oh, only on special holidays we show our love. No, we show our love all year round, but also on special holidays, we continue to show our love. Like, there's no reason not to. I intentionally do stupid, cheesy, corny things for David, and David looks at me and rolls his eyes because, well, he's David. So I'm going to go take care of Onyx now. I'm wishing you all a very, very happy Valentine's Day. May it be filled with love. Bye, guys. Hold the phone. Correction. I did not start dating David on 6/3/13. David and I started dating on 6/9/13. And I didn't realize it until I was listening to the episode back. What a horrible person I am. And then David's trying to make me feel worse, but David wasn't here to record this episode. So once again, that's a David problem. But our official date-iversary, as I call it, remember that everything's cheesy and corny and wonderful and lovey. Our official date-iversary is 6/9/13. Let the record show. I am not afraid to admit when I'm wrong, and I correct my mistakes if I can. Okay. Well, that was fun. I'm glad you stuck around for the whole thing. And thank you for talking to me today. Y'all go like and follow and review and do all the podcast things that people do. And don't forget to be a good human.